Yes, you, listening right now. You have no idea what just happened in the spiritual realm today. You thought it was just another ordinary day. You woke up, faced your usual challenges, maybe fought through some silent pain that no one else even saw. But heaven was watching. And today, what you did made God laugh in victory. Not because you defeated your enemies, but because you didn't give up. Because when the pressure rose, when everything inside you wanted to scream, "I'm done," you chose to keep going. And that one decision, that moment of unseen strength, shook something in the spirit world. Heaven's courtroom stood still. Angels paused. And God smiled, not the smile of pity, but of pride. You see, the enemy thought this was the day you'd finally quit, the day you'd turn your back on your faith, the day your silence would mean surrender. But instead, you whispered, "God, I don't understand what's happening, but I trust you anyway." And that was the moment the heavens erupted. Because that's not weakness, that's power. Oh, do you even realize how much spiritual authority hides in your obedience? Every time you choose peace over revenge, every time you forgive instead of fight, every time you trust instead of fear, you're sending shockwaves through the darkness. The enemy expected your tears to drown your spirit, but instead, they watered your faith. He expected your pain to silence you, but it became your worship. He thought you were falling apart, but you were being rebuilt, brick by brick, into something unbreakable. And today, when you showed up despite the storm, heaven took note. Because every chosen one has that moment, when the war looks too big, and yet you still show up. That's the moment victory is sealed. Oh, you might feel tired. You might even wonder if God still remembers your name. But here's the truth. God hasn't just been watching. He's been recording. Every prayer, every tear, every why that you whispered at 2 a.m. He saw it all. And while you thought he was silent, he was strategizing. He was setting up a reversal. He was waiting for your strength to outlast their schemes. And today, when you chose to stay kind in the face of cruelty, when you chose to pray instead of panic, when you chose to stand instead of run, heaven marked your name in victory. Because what you did today on that small, quiet act of faith was the final proof that the devil lost his grip on you. Oh, you see, God doesn't always celebrate with noise. Sometimes his laughter is quiet, deep, and powerful, like thunder hidden behind clouds. He laughs not because you're perfect, but because you finally saw yourself the way he always has. Victorious, chosen, unbreakable. The attacks were meant to destroy you, but now you're immune. They can't touch what's already been sanctified. And heaven knows it. That's why you've been feeling this strange peace lately, even in chaos. That's why you've been seeing signs, hearing confirmations, feeling sudden bursts of hope for no reason, because the battle is already shifting in your favor. Heaven has already decided. You've already won. Oh, and now God's laughter isn't just for you. It's for every demon that tried to take you down. It's for every person who mocked your journey, every voice that said you'll never make it. God is laughing because you became the proof of his promise, because your endurance embarrassed your enemies, because you turned pain into prophecy. They said you were finished, but look at you now. Still standing, still chosen, still glowing with grace. You have no idea how many people are watching you in silence. Not because they hate you, but because they can't figure out how you survived what should have destroyed you. They'll never understand the kind of strength it takes to smile through betrayal, to rebuild after heartbreak, to worship in the wilderness. But heaven understands, and that's why God laughed today. Because you passed a test that most people fail. Oh, you didn't lose your faith. You didn't lose your light. You didn't let the darkness change your heart. That's why the tables are turning now. Everything that left your life was a setup for what's coming next. Every rejection was redirection. Every closed door was divine protection. And now your next chapter isn't just restoration. It's multiplication. The favor that's about to hit your life won't make sense to anyone who saw you struggle, but it will make perfect sense to the God who saw you stay. So don't question the delay anymore. It was never a delay. It was divine development. And now everything that was withheld is about to overflow. Oh, you might not feel ready. You might not even feel worthy. But heaven already declared it. It's your time. This is why strange blessings will start following you. People you never expected will show up to help. Doors that were once sealed will start unlocking on their own. Because you've been tested in fire, and you came out gold. And that's the part that made God laugh the loudest today. Because hell underestimated the power of your process. You've been refined, not ruined. Elevated, not erased. Chosen, not forgotten. So when you see sudden breakthroughs, don't be surprised. They're not random. They're rewards. Oh, God's been waiting for this moment. The moment when you finally believe. You're chosen, not cursed. When you finally stop begging for what you already have. When you finally realize you were never fighting for victory. You were fighting from victory. Because you've already won. So as you watch this video, remember this truth. What you did today was holy. It was seen. It was celebrated. It was recorded in heaven's books. And when God laughed today, it was his way of saying, "My child, you made it." You've been wondering why lately. Everything feels different and almost quiet, almost sacred. Like something inside you shifted. Like the storm that once shook your soul has suddenly gone silent. That's not an accident. That's the sound of transition. When heaven starts to celebrate, the noise of the world starts to fade. And that's what you're living in right now. A divine pause before the explosion of favor. You've been asking God, why do I feel isolated? Why are people disappearing from my life? Why does it feel like I'm standing alone in this season? And the answer is simple. God had to empty your surroundings to fill your future. He had to remove the echoes so you could finally hear his voice clearly. Because you can't carry noise into your next level. You can't take distractions into destiny. And God knows that. So while you thought you were being abandoned, heaven was protecting you. While you thought you were being forgotten, heaven was setting the stage for your unveiling. You are not losing people. You are losing weights. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. And the laughter of God today isn't mockery. It's prophecy fulfilled. Oh, heaven's laughter means the enemy's control is broken. It means the pit that was dug for you has been filled by divine hands. It means the prayers you thought were ignored were actually being stored. And now the jar is tipping over. The blessings are about to pour. You have been refined in silence. You've been trained through storms. You've been molded in pain, but not for destruction, for definition. Because a diamond doesn't form in light, it forms in pressure. And that's what you've been under. The pressure wasn't punishment, it was prophecy under construction. God wasn't ignoring you. He was investing in you. He was teaching your spirit to recognize his timing. He was teaching your faith to breathe underwater. Oh, do you remember those nights you cried and said, "God, are you even there?" He was. But he was silent because he was operating. Sometimes the surgeon doesn't speak while performing the miracle. He just works quietly, carefully, purposefully. And while you were panicking, heaven was preparing the land you're about to step into, preparing the people who will recognize your worth, preparing the season that matches your calling. And now, the atmosphere is shifting. The same air that once carried your pain is now vibrating with purpose. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet assurance, that holy fire in your chest, that's the sound of heaven aligning your steps. Oh, you've always been different. That's why ordinary things never worked for you. That's why you couldn't fit in no matter how hard you tried. Because chosen ones aren't meant to blend in. They're meant to stand out. You were never meant to follow the crowd. You were meant to create a path. And the moment you accepted that truth, heaven began to cheer. You're not just surviving. You're stepping into your original design. A design that was written before the earth even existed. A destiny that darkness tried to delay but could never deny. That's why the warfare was so intense. Because the enemy saw your future before you did. He knew what you were carrying, and he panicked. He tried to crush your confidence. He tried to bury your hope. He tried to convince you that your delay was your denial. But God said, no, she's not denied and she's being defined. He's not forgotten, he's being fortified. And now that you've endured it, you've activated a power that even hell respects. Oh, you might not know this, but every chosen one carries a frequency, a spiritual energy that shakes up the unseen. That's why some people can't stand your presence. It exposes their pretenses. That's why you walk into rooms and the atmosphere shifts. You carry heaven's code in your spirit. You are divinely wired to disrupt darkness just by existing. And today, when you chose peace again, when you chose to rise again, that frequency echoed through realms. Demons had to bow. Doors had to open. Destiny had to move. You've reached a point where your spirit is no longer asking for permission. It's walking in authority. And that's what made God laugh in victory. Because you finally remembered who you are. Not a victim, but a vessel. Not broken, but reborn. Not wandering, but walking in purpose. Oh, let me tell you something that might shock you. You didn't just survive this storm. You shifted dimensions. You're not in the same spiritual frequency anymore. That's why things that used to bother you don't touch you now. That's why people who once controlled your emotions no longer affect you. You've matured spiritually. You've elevated energetically. You've become someone your past can't recognize. And your future has been waiting for. And that's dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, because a healed chosen one is unstoppable. You've become the proof that light always wins. That's why strange favor will start chasing you now. That's why people